Welcome to Plugged In, a special program produced by Con Edison about all things related to energy.
And how it affects more than 9 million people here in New York City and Westchester County. I'm Alfonso Quiroz.
And I'm Sidney Alvarez. We got another great show lined up for you. First up,
your gas heating bill is forecast to be less this winter than last year.
You notice mostly when you have a drafty home.
Find out how much more energy efficiency can help you save even more.
thousands of residents in California were left without power because of the wildfires. Learn how Con Edison line workers helped to restore energy. And our nation's veterans. They served, they sacrificed, but what comes next? Meet the military women and men who have joined the energy industry and how other vets may find their next employer.
Plus, with more and more New Yorkers driving electric vehicles, there's an increased need for curbside plug-in recharging stations. We'll tell you all about it.
And making New York Harbor the oyster capital of the world. Find out how we're working with the Billion Oyster Project.
All that and much more.
So let's get started.
This is our winter 2019 episode of Plugged In. And the big news for the cold season? New Yorkers can expect a slight decrease in their monthly heating bills. It's due to lower natural gas prices. And that's good on two fronts. It means savings for customers and helps us help the environment and lower our carbon footprint. Con Edison estimates residential heating bills will be about 6.9% lower than last winter. The average residential gas heating bill covering November 2019 through March 2020 will be about $255 each month. That's down from $274 a month last winter. Now that price forecast assumes a normal winter weather and is based on average monthly usage of 100 therms. Lower prices is good news for all of us, but it's just as important to encourage everyone to conserve energy for even more savings. For instance, you can sign up for one of Con Edison's energy efficiency programs. Here to tell us more about them is Caitlin Sukata. Caitlin, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So winter is coming, and
yes,
you've brought a couple toys for us over here.
Yes.
What can you tell us a little bit about some of the interesting things that people should know when they're trying to conserve energy in the wintertime?
Yeah, so it really kind of sneaks up. You notice mostly when you have a drafty home, right? So if the air is coming in, probably you're losing some heating and you're paying for that in your bills. So one of the first things I have is pretty easy to install, weather stripping. So this mostly goes on windows. And you can tell, like you'll put your hand up and if you feel a draft, you know you really should have some of this. You can take a look.
And so this can be picked up anywhere? People can just purchase this anywhere?
Just a couple dollars. You can get it at a local hardware store. You pull off a sticky tape and then you just kind of apply it and stick it in and it should hold and make a nice solid seal.
Now this isn't the only thing you can do with your windows. What is one of the tips that I've always said is to open your window shades in the wintertime to bring in more sunshine?
Absolutely, yeah. So you know when you're standing in the sun you feel warmer, right? And so that same thing is magnified like a greenhouse. So make sure, like before you leave for work, you open up your shades, you're getting that light coming in, and then when you can come home, you should close them and keep that heat inside.
What are some easy tips that people can do to try to save energy in the wintertime?
Yeah, so number one is just, it's darker, so you're gonna have lighting. You should make sure that you always have LEDs in all of your rooms. They are the most efficient, and if you check for the Energy Star, you know that they've been certified. I'd also say some easy things of making sure if you're going to bed, you don't need the thermostat as warm. You know, have an extra blanket or covers, so you're saving that energy at night.
And now what is this little handy thing that you brought here?
So this looks like a pool noodle.
Okay, it does look like a pool
yeah,
noodle.
it's actually, if you help me open this up, this is just like pipe wrap. So it's like squishy foam.
Okay.
And as you can see, like this is all you have to do is you find some open exposed pipes in your house and you don't want to pay to have that excess heat escaping, then you wrap this right over and then you can have any type of tape that seals it up and it just makes sure that the heat is going where it should be and not just ambient into the air.
Isn't that really something?
Yeah.
Now, do you get a lot of people that are coming to you for different type of advice on how to try to save energy in the wintertime?
Yeah. There's different things that you can do. I think the combination of having low technology like this and behavior, making sure you're aware of your actions and how they might be affecting your heating usage is hugely important.
And it's also good for the energy.
Yes.
Or, excuse me, also
For
good
the
for the environment.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And
Yes.
you know, we want to make sure that our kids have some place to be happy and healthy for the future.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here and really appreciate it. And I hope everyone stays warm this coming winter.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
The wildfire season in California could stretch from autumn until winter this year. People have to deal with electric power outages, and restoring that energy has been a big job. Con Edison was one of several energy companies that sent crews there to help. Con Edison workers Jason Gorman and Darren Watson are in Smartsville, California, helping to restore power to residents preemptively turned off due to the wildfires.
It means a lot to me because, being a lineman myself, it's a form of pride, and it makes you feel good knowing that you help turn the lights back on when people are in need.
Some of the dangers we were told to look out for: rattlesnakes, mountain lions, stuff like that we're not used to back home.
They're part of a small New York contingency, 29 employees from Orange and Rockland and Con Edison energy companies.
They're going out into the field in teams of 2, doing damage assessment and patrol for PG&E so they can effect repairs.
Do you hear that? The grass here and vegetation is extremely brittle and dry. The Kincaid fire, which is burning about 2-3 hours away from here, has destroyed more than 76,000 acres. And that's what has residents here anxious, the dryness of the environment.
We haven't had power. This is the 3rd day
Without power?
without power.
How are you doing?
I have a generator that I run.
By helicopter and by foot patrol and driving the roadways. Transformers and power lines are getting inspected, one pole at a time, to safely restore power as quickly as possible.
Well, we're out here helping the people of California who right now are in a time of need that actually came to help us during Sandy. They left their families to come out and help us. Now we're reciprocating, helping them.
I've talked to a couple of them. They're good people, and I'm glad as hell they're here.
Whether it's a blue sky day or a severe storm blowing through the area, our emergency teams are continually training, making sure they're ready to keep your power on. Here's how.
Based on our map and looking at Zone A,
These Con Edison employees are training to prepare for any weather-related power emergencies.
In an emergency, we use the Incident Command System, which is the national framework for responding to emergencies, and we're training our company folks in their emergency response roles.
In this training scenario, it is heavy flooding, and with the help of the New York State Homeland Security and Emergency Services, these employees are learning about strategies behind using an incident command system.
Some of the roles that are involved is the incident commander, who there's also the safety officer, and then we have chiefs. So you would have a planning chief, you could have a logistics chief.
This emergency classroom training is part of an overall plan. You see, Con Edison is spending billions of dollars on your energy system to make it more tough, more reliable. Con Edison is fortifying your energy system against more frequent, powerful storms, rising seas, and hotter temperatures. And back in the classroom, these trainees know they can't control the weather, but they can certainly prepare for the emergency.
So we want to be able to keep the system running, reduce the amount of outages as much as possible.
While we can't prevent storms from happening, we can improve our efficiency so we can more quickly restore customer service.
With more and more New Yorkers driving electric vehicles, there's an increased need for curbside plug-in recharging stations. Con Edison is working with the city to create 100 of these new recharging stations. Here's a preview.
Lance Walters purchased his Tesla X90D electric vehicle 3 years ago and has never looked back.
I save over $200 a month on gasoline costs. Electric vehicles have really low maintenance, and they have 100% torque available at 0 RPM, so they're very quick off the line.
Electric vehicles are good for air quality, reducing climate change, and helping make New York a quieter city. That's why Con Edison is partnering with the New York City Department of Transportation on a pilot program to install 100 public curbside recharging stations on city streets and in every borough for electric vehicle.
Each of these new stations is going to be very similar to this one right here. They're going to be modern, easy to use, convenient, and New York City tough.
We want to see more electric vehicles on the street because it's better for our environment and cleaner for our communities.
Especially in New York City, where all the charging stations are inside facilities. They're abundant, but the caveat is that they're inside parking lots, and I don't have to pay for charging and then pay for the parking fees as well, because then it just kind of balances out to the same thing as gas.
We're really excited about this new curbside charging pilot program because it will help all New Yorkers take advantage of the new electric vehicle models coming to market.
Curbside charging would help definitely, because this way I don't have to worry about, do I have time to find a location, park there, and then do what I need to do and then get back in time. So with curbside, if it's like right on the street side, I just go in and run my errands and just come out like any other.
We're going to take a quick break. When we return, the energy world is changing rapidly. Climate change is just one reason. Learn what Con Edison's doing to lead the way into this brave new world of energy.
Up next, the stories of veterans who came to their country and now are giving to our company. It's a job recruitment program aimed at finding jobs for returning service members.
You are the energy of New York. You have the power to make it sustainable for the future. Con Edison has the energy efficiency programs to help. Together, we've helped New York have the cleanest air in 50 years. Imagine what we can do in the next 50. Start saving now at coned.com/energy savings.
811 is more than just a number. It's the number you call before you dig to have underground infrastructure marked, keeping you and your community safe from harm. Call 811 before you dig, not 911 after. It's the law. Learn more at coned.com/811.
Kings Plaza Shopping Center has been a staple in Brooklyn for more than 50 years. Now, with a little help from Con Edison, they're getting a new upgrade that's connecting them to the rest of the borough and making them a whole lot greener. Kings Plaza Shopping Center in Brooklyn is a fashion hub for trendy shoppers. Not many people realize that it was built back in 1970, and at the time contained over 125 name brand stores. It was convenient to get to and modern. Everything was enclosed and temperature controlled. Almost 50 years later, it's still a destination place to shop. However, there's one big difference that you probably won't notice when walking around the mall. It's now hooked up to Con Edison's electrical grid.
Kings Plaza, they were not connected to the grid. They had their own generation because they wanted to be in control of their own power.
Which means that we supply power to our 1.2 million square feet of regional shopping, but only provide power to ourselves.
The problem its owners faced is that when electricity usage is low, such as at nighttime, 2 generators must still run in order to maintain reliability, which is highly inefficient. By being able to plug into the grid, the mall can now use electricity Con Edison delivers and shut the generators off.
And we, working with Kings Plaza, have worked together to be able to interconnect it to the grid. And that's good for both of us.
It's good for both of us because the mall is now able to sell excess power into the grid when it's needed the most.
We are thrilled to see our partners bringing a clean energy source to South Brooklyn and just being great partners to Brooklyn as a whole.
You know, in many ways, Con Edison is the leader in making the transition from the way energy has been delivered and consumed and the way that we're going to do it in the future. Joining me now to discuss our energy future is Matt Ketchke, Con Edison's Senior Vice President for Customer Energy Solutions. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks, Sydney. Great to be here.
Thank you very much. So, you know, the first thing on my mind, and I'm sure on many viewers, is this clean energy vision. Tell us about this. What does this mean?
All right. So clean energy vision is increasingly people are thinking about sustainability or how sustainable is the energy we use. So there's an increasing conversation going on about where's our energy coming from, how sustainable is it, how do we source energy that we use every day.
And how does this plug in with our conversations about climate change?
One of the big conversations around climate change is how much greenhouse gas is emitted in the energy we use, or GHG. So when you think about where does the energy come from, are GHGs, or greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, released when the energy is produced? And there's more of a conversation about how can we lower the amount of carbon dioxide in the energy that we use.
And the way we're doing this, because it's kind of cool, it's very futuristic, but it's happening now. For example, batteries. I mean, yeah, this is really a game changer, right?
They are. So one of the things when we think about how do we get clean energy comes from sources like wind, solar. And those are sources, they're great because they don't emit carbon dioxide when they produce energy, but they're also intermittent. Or they produce energy when the wind is blowing and the sun is shining. What batteries do is they help us balance that energy need. So when energy is overproduced because the wind's blowing harder and the sun's shining stronger and people don't need that much energy, you can store it. And then when clouds come by, the wind stops blowing, you can dispatch that energy and use it.
You know, let's talk about solar. We're the second largest producer of solar energy in the United States. This is just something that we're really truly embracing and trying to put out there.
Yes, we are. So we are the second largest producer of solar in the U.S., with the vast majority of that being in our unregulated businesses. As we look here in the Northeast, solar is becoming a bigger and bigger part about how we think about meeting the clean energy future. In New York State, there's a law that just passed called the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which mandates as a state we will move towards clean energy and be completely clean energy in 2024. So all electric produced in New York in 2024 and 2040 by law will be from clean energy sources that do not emit carbon dioxide.
Awesome. So, you know, you can't have a conversation about clean energy without talking about electric vehicles.
Yep.
More and more, you see them more on the street. You're seeing the charging stations. How are we getting involved and really working with that particular type of commodity?
Yeah, so increasingly you are seeing electric vehicles being adopted. You're seeing more and more Teslas and Chevy Volts out on the street. And we are working with partners in the state to deploy charging stations. Because one of the things for people who own electric vehicles is they're going to need someplace to charge it. Most people will charge their electric vehicle most of the time at home. It's actually one of the benefits of an electric vehicle. If you happen to have a garage or someplace you keep your vehicle at home, you can charge it when you're not using it. But people do need the ability to charge on the road and fill up when they are maybe running low on charge. So we are working with both the city and state to deploy electric vehicle charging stations across the 5 boroughs in Westchester County.
You know, Matt, while I have you here, I just want to talk to you because I know what customers think about this, and we work very heavily as a company about this. The reliability of the system. You know, we talk about all these really great new initiatives about energy, but at the same time, we're always talking about reliability. How does all this fit in?
So increasingly, you need a reliable system. So we need a reliable system because people are extremely dependent on electricity to power their everyday needs. So we think about how do we have a reliable system as we try to decarbonize the electric system. So how do we think about keeping the lights on, for example, when the wind doesn't blow or the sun doesn't shine if you're using solar or wind? That's where batteries come into play to balance out the needs of the system.
Matt, it's always awesome talking to you. I know I'm going to have you on the podcast later on talking about 2020 energy trends, so thank you very much for being with us.
Great, Sidney. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah,
Take care.
Thank you. And if you all want more information on our energy vision, you can go to coned.com.
If you smell natural gas, act fast. You'll know it's natural gas because it will smell like rotten eggs. If you suspect a leak, do not turn lights or appliances on or off, or use the phone. These things could cause a spark that could cause the gas to explode. Leave the area immediately and take others with you. Once at a safe distance, call 911 or Con Edison right away. Your call can be anonymous. Never assume someone else has already called.
For the women and men who serve in the military, life does not end upon discharge. They need to find jobs and use the skills and disciplines they learned while on active duty. Con Edison is one of the leading corporations to seek out veterans to become employees. Here's a report on that recruitment program by the Lifetime Channel Network.
Welcome to the Big Apple. home to some of our hardest working, fast-paced, diverse individuals. A home for over 800,000 of our military veterans.
I enlisted in the Army in 2007, right out of high school. I didn't really have any other idea of what I would want to do with my life. And also, I'm born and raised New Yorker, so 9/11 was very big in my community. A lot of folks that are close to me were involved in that. So it was, on multiple levels, really important, in my opinion, for folks from this part of the country to serve.
I come from a military family, long line as far as the history is concerned. My dad was in the United States Navy. He was a yeoman. So I saw the military firsthand when I was younger. My grandparents, both of my grandfathers, were in the Army. And then on top of that, when I was a freshman in high school, I was introduced to the idea of the United States Naval Academy. I brought a catalog home because back then the internet wasn't around. Wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get in because I knew how challenging it was. But once I got that acceptance letter and the opportunity, there was no turning back.
My father was a Marine. I joined the Marine Corps as well in 1991. We've had a family member in every war since World War II. You know, as young boys, me and my brother, we would see the uniforms and we'd hear stories, and that was a big inspiration for me to join the military. And plus, I wanted to serve my country.
Since 2003, enlisted service members have been exiting the military at a rate of roughly 250,000 per year, leaving a large group of our veterans with the question, what comes next?
When I first got out, the transition was not easy. Many people did not understand the military resume or what the military veterans had to offer. So I moved around for a little bit, and within 5 years, when Con Edison was hiring veterans and they understood what the veterans had to offer, that's when I came on board.
Founded in 1823 as the New York Gaslight Company, Con Edison and its subsidiaries provide electric, gas, and steam energy to 10 million people in New York City and some neighboring counties.
We're a business that provides very large solar plants and smaller solar plants all over the country. We provide gas on cold days. We heat the city. On beautiful nights, we light it. And so that is so essential to what we do, just like the military's mission is so essential to the security of this country.
Con Edison currently employs over 720 veterans, with over 60 serving in the reserves or National Guard.
My job is to recruit active National Guard and Reserve service personnel as they're transitioning off of active duty to positions here at Con Ed. Our service members coming off active duty come with valuable skill sets that are a perfect fit here for some of our positions at Con Edison.
I'm a gas leak emergency first responder with Con Edison. We run into buildings when everybody else is coming out. You know, we're the first to respond and the last to leave. The same lessons that I learned when I was in the Air Force, that you get out of it what you put in. It's the same lessons that you learn here.
The military taught me to be, to pay attention to detail. You know, the job that I do in electrical operations, you have to pay attention to detail. I mean, electricity is unforgiving. The leadership skills that they taught us, I'm a chief lineman, so I'm in charge of a crew of people to get the particular function done for the day. A success because of what I've learned in the military, I believe.
Con Edison was ranked as one of the top 100 companies on the Military Times 2018 Best for Vets survey.
But we also look for veterans who need a little bit of help, maybe a little bit of boost. And we have some veterans that have come out of the service with service-related injuries or issues, and we're happy to help here at Con Edison.
I would really like to see other veterans coming in to Orange and Rockland and Con Edison, because you can be part of a team, you can cultivate a healthy team atmosphere. You're doing something that's important because we're providing a really crucial service to the community. The hospitals, the police, the fire department, nothing runs without us doing our job.
To any veteran that's looking for a place to be, maybe you feel that you're wandering around and you're confused. Con Edison is the direction.
Sometimes it could be an adventure. There's something new every day. You're working in one of the greatest cities in the world and you're making it work. A lot of pride in what we do here. And veterans are more than welcome to work for Con Edison. That's why we have over 700 of them.
You have to be all into the mission, whatever it is. And the mission that we have now in providing essential services to New York City and the surrounding areas, and also clean energy throughout the country. You got to be all in, and that's something that I am. I'm all into this mission, and it makes my job easy.
For veterans interested in a career in helping to power the city, submit an application directly to an opening on their website and send your resume to veterans@coned.com.
We wanted to leave you with a story about a community partner of ours working to replenish the oyster population in New York Harbor. Their survival in our environment is more important than you may think. Watch this. These volunteers are saving New York Harbor one oyster at a time, shoveling and preparing thousands of oyster shells.
They're filter feeders, so an adult oyster can filter up to 50 gallons of water a day. They bring back biodiversity, so when oysters are doing well in the environment, other marine organisms are also doing well.
This is the Billion Oyster Project. Their mission is to restore our oyster reefs.
This is one of our 3 curing sites at Billion Oyster Project. This is where we store and cure over 1 million pounds of oyster shell collected from New York City restaurants.
By 2035, 1 billion oysters will be planted around 100 acres of reefs, helping New York Harbor reclaim its title as the oyster capital of the world. In the video, you can see oyster larvae under a microscope in what's called the hatchery, their indoor controlled laboratory. And in the summer, volunteers place oysters in installations so they can grow. Underwater next to the shoreline, they are allowed to thrive.
All right, coming over.
This is Anne. With the help of Con Edison, she works with area students on STEM-focused curriculum all about oysters.
There's a really fun lesson in the curriculum on food webs and food chains. Resources that reflect our local environment is really empowering for teachers and students.
And back with the volunteers, they're working to make the New York shoreline better with a thriving oyster population.
So it's important that everyone is involved in the process of cleaning it up, and so we can keep it clean for future generations.
Obviously, Con Edison is part of the fabric of the city. We're all working for the same goals, one of which is to make our city a better place to live.
Well, now you're plugged in. That's our show. You can follow Con Edison on social media on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Thanks for watching, and until next time, adios.